Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Start Studio Discovery Showcase, made possible by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. I'm Stefan Cisco, here to welcome you tonight. This is our 12th cohort, and you're going to see, coincidentally, 12 fantastic entrepreneurs tell you all about their journey and tell you about their ideas for companies that they are getting ready to found. You will be among the first to hear about them. So welcome, everybody. We're going to have a great show for you tonight. We hope you're ready to be enlightened, great new ideas, and be introduced to these wonderful entrepreneurs. But first, what we're going to do is I am going to bring up to the stage Christiane Malone to tell you a little bit more.
Thank you, Stefan. And so, good evening, everyone. Okay, well, let's try this a different way. What up, though? Thank you. That's how I like to see it. So welcome again. As Stefan said, this is an amazing night full of energy. We have amazing founders who are here to share their ideas with all of you and really help this be the catalyst to where they're going to go next. And so, as Stefan said, my name is Christiane Malone. I am the Chief Program Officer at TechTown, as well as Assistant Vice President of Economic Development at Wayne State University. And I hope you all are just as excited tonight about as we gather together to uplift not only tech and innovation in Detroit, but really celebrating 20 years of TechTown. We have been doing this for a long time, and we are so excited to continue doing this work. And before we get started, though, I really also have to acknowledge our sponsors, because without them, this would not be possible. And that includes the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, the NASDAQ Philanthropic Foundation, the U.S. Economic Development Administration, and the William Davidson Foundation. So please, let's give them a round of applause. So TechTown, we are Wayne State's entrepreneurship hub, and we have been at the forefront of fostering technology-driven ventures, empowering entrepreneurs, and creating sustainable economic impact in Detroit and beyond. Since our inception, TechTown has supported more than 6,430 companies, which have created more than 2,346 jobs and raised more than $408 million in startup and growth capital. That's huge. And last year, we supported over 1,000 entrepreneurs. 63% of those were Black, African American, and 65% used she, her, hers pronouns, and 11% were immigrant entrepreneurs. And so we truly are a reflection not only of this great city, this region, but this state, and the innovation that continues to be the blood that flows through all of us. And so this event is really a testament to that innovation that continues to be showcased every day. And as we are an integral part of the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the region, we're proud to offer programs, education, and resources for early and growth stage small businesses and tech entrepreneurs, with Start Studio being at the core of that. Start Studio is designed to launch startup founders with a tech-based idea into the real world. And that is why we are all here today, to learn and experience these innovative ideas and to support our amazing founders. Aside from Start Studio, one of the main ways we cultivate innovation and mobility is through MAIN, our Mobility Accelerator Innovation Network, which is a consortium of 7 partners dedicated to boosting and driving, pun intended, Detroit's next chapter of the industry. Through MAIN, we advance mobility in the city of Detroit and across Southeast Michigan by way of supporting mobility companies at every stage of their development. You can learn more about our tech-based programs by connecting to our wonderful team members here tonight, as well as all of our tech-based programs, including MAIN. And we also have small business programs that are always available with resources, including free resources, such as our Asset Expert program, our Professional Services Network, which actually offers free pro bono 25-minute consultations for any idea that you have. So as I wrap up this welcome, I want to thank you all for making a donation to TechTown when you RSVP tonight, if you did. Actually, your donations, which is over $350, is the largest event donations that we've had for these events. And so that donation really goes toward creating even more of these opportunities and supporting our future and current tech founders. And your individual donation is actually one of the single most important, impactful gifts you can make to TechTown, as it helps us provide programs, resources to entrepreneurs just like the ones we have here presenting today. And of course, today is, tis the season of giving. And so you can always go to techtowndetroit.org/donate to just give a little bit more, whether it's $1, $5, 50, 500, 5,000, pick your denomination. But knowing that it is going toward making even our programs and even more resources available to the founders and entrepreneurs in their entire ecosystem. Because together, it takes a village to raise entrepreneurs. It takes all of us working together, and we are helping them succeed, and we're accelerating an inclusive and equitable economy for Detroit and Southeast Michigan through programs like Start Studio. And so thank you all again so much. This is going to be an amazing night. And before we kick off to the next part, I'm going to bring up board member and founder Justin Turk to give a few remarks as well.
Greetings, or what up, though? Okay. My name is Justin Turk. First off, Christian, thank you for the introduction. Appreciate being here. I count it as an honor and both a privilege. So I'm the founder of a company called Logistics, headquartered here in Detroit, and we are a software company in the waste and recycling sector. We support the commercial management of waste to landfills across the country, not only because we believe that operational improvements is important to our communities, to the way we do business, but there's intrinsic value in the data. We think about a sustainable future. Waste eventually becomes a commodity. A lot of the things that are commodities today used to go in a landfill. So it's important that we understand that evolution so that information can be back to the people in our communities and they can understand how they can invest, how they can create businesses that are important to our ecosystem, important to our future. As myself, being an entrepreneur is tough. I understand we got some people who are going to come up here on stage and they're going to pitch their ideas. This journey needs a lot of support. You need it from your family. You need it from your colleagues. You need it from programs like TechTown. I was fortunate enough in 2020 to be introduced to the Capital Access Program, specifically the Business Accelerator Fund. Now, we were early stage as a company. Thankfully, at that point, our advisor was able to get us $25,000 in funding to do our SOC 2 compliance with a large Fortune 100 company. If it wasn't for that funding, we would have never been able to do something like that. It wasn't on our radar. It wasn't something that was important to us, but for that company, it was very intrinsic value. Because of that, a year later, we were able to win the inaugural Black Ambition program, which was a $1 million program from Pharrell Williams and Felicia Hatcher. We were up against competitors from all over the country, and we were number one. It was the first one in Detroit. We've had some winners since then and have won prizes, but that was a significant space for us. I say that to say that when you think about growth, when you think about being able to be an entrepreneur, it's not something that you have to do on your own. And it's important that we look at programs like TechTown, not only as an asset for advice, for referrals, for mentorship, but they actually need financial support. That's why I'm very fortunate and blessed to be on a board, TechTown Board of Directors, where I get to sit down and understand what the next sector of this business looks like. But at the same time, I donate my time, I donate my resources to ensure that people who look like me, people who come into Detroit, people have an opportunity to scale their business and they have the support that they need. So if you're somebody that's interested in donating to TechTown, whether it be $5, $500, whatever it may be, whether it be your time, whether it be your mentorship, we need it. The program needs it. Programs like this are essential. Detroit is a great ecosystem, and it takes all of us in here to make sure that it continues to thrive, continues to grow. With that being said, looking forward to the showcase. Thanks for inviting me, and I appreciate the time. Let's have a great day.
All right. Talk about a great example of entrepreneurship, brains, grit, and a really, really nice guy. Thank you, Justin. All right, now, many of you here know entrepreneurship is just a glamorous lifestyle. It's romantic, it's jet-setting, it's martinis and cigars and deal-making and, okay, good, that is what you see in the movies and in books you read, because I'm getting a lot of really weird looks from the founders here that have gone through this program and are thinking they're in the wrong place right now because they've been put through the ringer. They've worked really, really hard and gotten a whole lot of grief from all of us to do better, do more, dig deeper, learn more. They're all giving me dirty looks right now because I am not lying. It's really hard. Entrepreneurship is tough, and you've heard it here tonight. It takes a village. It takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of toughness. It takes a lot of tough love. Love being the key word, but tough being the necessary word, because there are a lot of ways to fail as an entrepreneur. And hanging in there, and yes, right back here, falling in love with the problem is step one. Finding out what that problem is a very important step. Everybody falls in love with their solution. Ooh, you've all heard this. I got an idea. Do you know it would make $1 million? Do you know it would make a great business? Right? That's what we start with. Then we need to pull back and say, what is a problem that's worth solving? And for that, we do customer discovery. We go out and say, hey, do you have a problem with this? What is something that you really, really can't stand and you'd spend money to fix? And you dig deeper and deeper until you know more about what a person's challenge is that they'd be willing to spend money on. And these folks have spent weeks and weeks and 100+ customer discovery interviews discovering the problem, which is the first step before you can say, I think I have an idea on how I can solve that problem because I've discovered that there's a problem serious enough for me to make it worth my while to spend a good number of years of my life solving, that there's a market out there who will appreciate me solving that problem. And you know what I mean by appreciate, right? They're going to give me the money. Right? So that's what they've done, and it's really, really hard, and it takes a lot of guts, a lot of courage, and they've done that. So once you've figured that out and found out how wrong you were in the first place, and go at it again, and find out how you're still wrong, and again, and again, and again, and you start realizing you've got something here, and it gets better and better, then you can start going out and executing on your business. So it's a long road, and I congratulate everybody who's done this. And also I'd like to congratulate and thank our exceptional team, which is made up of our staff, me, Stefan Cisco, who basically I just kind of facilitated the program and helped everybody through it. Niles, Nick, who I don't believe is here today, and Amanda. Then there's our entrepreneurs in residence, our coaches. Please stand up. Dave, Mac, Colleen, and Jeff. Everybody give them your royal waves. There you go. And then our customer discovery specialists, Sean, Nakeem, Zach, and Frankie. Get on up. They got up so quick, we didn't even get a picture of you. Come on, get your props. Anyway, these folks are fantastic. They offer tons and tons and, dare I say, years and years of experience, of knowledge in helping these folks through. And I think they'll agree that they offer a wealth of help in getting through this tough part of the beginning of entrepreneurship. So thank you to the team. And now I would like to introduce and tell you a little bit about, this is kind of a project. I've got to get their bios here because they're quite extensive and impressive. Then I got to put my old man glasses on so I can read this, and my arms aren't long enough to do that. So first, Valencia Stoudemeyer, the Vice President of Supplier Diversity at Henry Ford Health, where she leads initiatives to enhance partnerships with diverse vendors and build a strong supplier pipeline. With over 20 years of experience in purchasing and relationship building in the automotive and healthcare sectors, Valencia is passionate about fostering equity and economic opportunities. She's a graduate of Leadership Detroit, a member of Inforum, and actively supports community organizations like the Detroit Symphony Orchestra and the Stoudemeyer Wellness Hub, named in honor of her late husband. Welcome, Valencia. Next, we have Gwen Gemer. I told her I'd pronounce it that way because it was fancier. Gwen Jamer is the CEO and founder of Naturalicious Beauty, a global brand known for its high-performing, time-saving beauty solutions that have transformed routines for over 140,000 women. As the first African-American woman to hold a patent for natural healthcare products, her innovations are sold in over 40 countries and 2,500 retail stores, including Ulta and Whole Foods. Recognized as one of the 100 most influential African Americans and an Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Gwen also shares her expertise on business and personal finance as host of the Get Money Show. Oh, I love it. And last but not least, and a dear friend of mine, Marlon Williams, an accomplished entrepreneur, coach, and executive with over 25 years of experience in economic development, technology, and organizational leadership. As the inaugural Chief Program Officer at TechTown Detroit, she created the award-winning Start Studio Discovery program. Yeah, which has supported hundreds of founders and expanded into MVP and traction programs. A two-time tech founder, Marlon also leads Sisters Code and the Highland Park Hub, empowering women and entrepreneurs in technology and mobility. Currently, she serves as interim COO of Build Institute, helping small business owners in Detroit succeed. Welcome, Marlon. Now that's a level of expertise and knowledge that will be judging you today. That sounded kind of intense, didn't it? No. But this is wonderful, wonderful feedback that you're going to get here, entrepreneurs. So with that, let's get this show started. Everybody ready? Entrepreneurs, are you ready? All right, let's bring up our first entrepreneur. Are you going to do the announcing?
I am.
Yay. All right.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. What up, though? Much better as a native Detroiter. I love that. My name is Jackie Barnes. I'm a program manager here at TechTown Detroit. I'm on our growth capital team, which is housed in our tech team. So I'm super excited to be able to facilitate us through this evening. And I'm going to do a giving plug too in honor of our excellent panel of all women, which we are super excited about. A glass ceiling shattered somewhere. And also TechTown's 20th anniversary this year. Everybody else said 5 denominations, maybe 20 denominations. And if anybody wants to give 20,000 plus, see me first. We'll make sure 20% is flagged for Jackie. Without further ado, I'm going to bring out Tiana Dow of the Loneliness Network to be our first entrepreneur to speak this evening. Round of applause.
They say loneliness impacts greater than 60% of adults. That's a fact that we've become acutely aware of over the last several years. The World Health Organization has even declared that loneliness has become a global health threat. But what does that even mean? Loneliness is a subjective experience. No medical diagnosis, no treatment. So how do you solve that problem? No two users experience loneliness in the same way. But yet, the capability gap is that the current solutions are meetup apps, events, or AI chat. How do you make... But how do you make a friend if you don't know how? And that is the question that drove me to dive deeper into the problem. When I came to TechTown, I had the initial idea that people lack the necessary skills to engage in effective communication. After conducting 102 interviews, I learned that my users agreed and that they feel that experience of loneliness can be alleviated through the education, practice, and implementation of improved communication and life skills. TLN is a social media and educational platform that has community and directed common goals. I'm sorry. It provides an active community for people to improve and gain confidence, self-awareness, and bridge the communication gap with their friends and their family. It allows them to take ownership of the experience in a way that they can improve. It provides an environment of shared experience, community, and education. The Loneliness Network is a go. If you feel inspired to work with me, thank you.
Tiana?
Hi.
Is it Tiana?
It is.
Hey, Tiana. You did well. Breathe.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Now that you're breathing, I just have a quick question for you. So you had 102 interviews.
Yes.
I am really interested. So you landed on your customers being young adults, 18 to 25.
Correct.
Where in your journey of 102 interviews were you like, oh my God, this is my audience? And what was that aha moment to make you know that this was your customer?
Oh, the utter vulnerability. It was not the direction I intended on going. I was prompted to go that direction by my EIR. I actually found that demographic kind of intimidating. I have a 15-year-old. They're so vulnerable. It was actually incredible that as soon as I was speaking to them about the problem and then the solution in the end, how utterly abandoned they feel by their upbringing with their parents, as well as the opportunities that society offers them, that they cling onto any opportunity for something to really inspire them, to move them, to teach them, because they don't feel like they have learned any life skills along the way. And so through the problems and the solution, they just grasped onto it. And I've had people come to tears. 30% of them were willing to sign up on the spot. I have an extensive list of users who are currently waiting on a list for updates. It was pretty impactful.
Thank you.
Tiana, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So I just want to clarify. So it's not an app, or it is an app, or because I'm looking at it, but I was trying to understand kind of how this would differentiate from connecting with others through other social media.
So it is an app.
Okay.
And the way content marketing draws them to the network, right? They become subscribers. And at that point, they are actively interacting with users. They're prompted to engage with community events. So the daily micro learning would actually incentivize them, right, to connect with 5 users within the community, or to even just smile and say hello at 5 people. It's regularly prompting them to really practice these skills, to interact with the community, to play the daily games. It's really engaging them on a consistent basis to practice all of these skills with each other in the community, as well as public events and workshops.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, Tiana.
Hello.
How are you?
Better if that didn't just happen.
You're perfectly fine. You're okay. I'm curious about your monetization channels for this pitch.
So repeat the monetization.
Yeah, how do you plan to monetize it? So I see various ways, but I'm curious as to know what your plan would be. I realize it's not in action right now, but do you have a plan for how it will make money?
Yeah, there are multiple ways to be able to monetize, but the main income source will be a subscription model. It's mostly to actually protect the user. Loneliness is an incredibly vulnerable experience, so actually putting it behind a paywall protects them, and that would be the main income source. And then there will be obviously multiple other opportunities with partnerships, with the income derived from the video, from the content marketing. Those are just additional revenue streams.
Would the events that you mentioned in the daily games have a fee attached to them as well, or would those be free?
The in-person workshops would be in addition. The daily content is part of the subscription model.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's give Tiana one more round of applause. I know I felt lonely before, and I had kids. Probably not the best solution for that. We are now going to welcome up our next presenters, Bilal and Joe of Bagsy. So give them a very warm round of applause to welcome them to the stage.
All right, so I'm in Chicago. Last day of my trip, I checked out of my hotel, and I'm excited. Chicago, you know? I want to go out, I want to explore the city. I had a couple hours before my flight, but instead I found myself standing in the middle of Michigan Avenue dragging my bags around. So I started thinking, what do people do with their luggage when they check out of their accommodation and they have a later flight in the day? I thought about leaving my bags at the hotel, but I really didn't want to do that. It was just too inconvenient. I would have to go back and grab my bags and take them to the airport afterwards. I found out about these luggage storage companies that would watch your bags for you, but those were even more inconvenient because I had to get my bags there in the first place and then go back and pick them up. There really was no good solution, and that's why our team, with an extensive background in advanced software development, business strategy, and customer service, built that solution. So we did this program because we wanted to discover what millions of travelers who face this problem every single day are doing to solve it. And we discovered that they're doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. They check out of their hotels, they end up just dragging their bags around the city with them. They end up using these third-party or hotel storage solutions, which were really inconvenient, or they end up just moving up their flights or booking an earlier flight to avoid the problem altogether. We talked to 107 people, and we've identified the 3 biggest pain points with the solutions that exist today. The biggest being time. People were wasting way too much time trying to figure out what to do with their luggage, and that was time that they could be using to enjoy their trip. There was also a security concern. A lot of people didn't feel like it was safe to leave their bags at these hotels or these third-party locations. And cost. People were frustrated with the cost because not only are you paying for storage fees, you're also paying transportation costs going back and forth between these storage locations to get your bags.
So this is where Bagsy comes from. We developed a solution that allows you to reclaim that lost time, utilizes a TSA-approved security framework, and is affordable by directly delivering and storing your bags at the airport. So how does this work? So imagine that you're in Chicago or New York and you've just checked out of your hotel. You have about 6 hours to kill before your flight. So you log into the Bagsy app and send a request when and where your bags to be picked up. A driver is notified, assigned, and arrives at the pickup location to take your bags to the airport. You, the traveler, are now able to extend your vacation. Go check out a show or go grab a bite to eat. But when you're done, head on over to the airport to the Bagsy kiosk, collect your bags, and carry on with your flight. That's the time. So thank you very much. That Bagsy is a go, and we look forward to your question.
Great pitch. Thank you. Who's your customer?
So we have quite a few customer segments. Definitely our biggest customer and early adopters are people who are traveling multiple times a year, staying at hotels or Airbnbs, and they're checking out of their hotels with a later flight. So over half of flights leave after 3 p.m., just a standard number across the U.S. So anybody who is an Airbnb user or a hotel user that happens to have a later flight in the day.
Also, we also found a lot of demographic characteristics really came from our interviews. Typically younger side, so age 20 to 40 years old as well. So just wanted to add to that.
The only reason I was asking is I'm thinking about my travel. Mm-hmm. And as a hotel traveler, like I can just take my bag and leave it for forever until I get on my flight, right? Mm-hmm. So is it more of a traveler who's at a hotel, or is it more of an Airbnb? Like you have a checkout and there's nowhere to take your bag. I'm just trying to understand, like.
That's a great question. Yeah. So typically what we saw for our interviews was the Airbnb users, typically those are the ones that want the third-party storage.
Okay.
Because Airbnbs don't typically have that storage option for hotels. For the hotel users themselves, yes, they store them at the hotels, but they run into the problem of if they go out and explore the city, they have to circle back, and that's when added fees come on. Mm-hmm. A lot of individuals as well found a risk with how the hotels were storing their bags as well. And so these were really insightful nuggets of information that we got.
Thank you.
Of course.
So, quick question. Logistically, have you, I guess, worked with the airports to identify who would manage them? Like, how are the bags received? How are they secured? How are they maintained? And then how do people get them? I'm just trying to understand if you have to establish partnerships with
Sure.
each of the airports.
I can give you a short version of the answer. So yeah, we did. We met with Airport Authority at DTW. We had extensive conversations. We would have a Bagsy employee on site that would be collecting the bags and watching over them. And then in terms of the retrieval process, so through the app, when you book a trip, you get a unique trip code and it asks for a photo identification of your ID. So when you present to the airport, on the back end, we have the information for the trip, and to retrieve your bags, you would have to present your ID as well as a unique trip code that's gives you access only to your bags.
Okay,
Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm curious how you plan to recruit the drivers. What is your recruiting plan for that? And then I might have missed it, but you mentioned the high cost that people pay for the third party storage, but I don't think I heard how much this would cost the end user. So what's the cost for
our
the user?
solution.
Yeah.
So it's priced based on per bag and per distance. We charge $8 for the first bag, $5 for every additional bag, and $1.50 per mile. Now, when you put that all together, it's very comparable to an Uber trip. Our price point from our interviews was very favorable. People were saying they pay more for like a salad and water at the airport. And then for the first part of your question, so we did talk to a lot of Uber drivers as part of this process. Now, us compared to every other ride-sharing app out there has a very unique value proposition. We've discovered that over 83% of Uber drivers drive for multiple apps and location and services, and the number one thing that determines who they want to drive for is compensation. Now, because Bagsy, there's a common drop-off location, our app actually allows drivers to accept multiple trips at once and deliver them all at the airport at the same time. And what that means is 35 to 45% pay increase per hour for drivers. So we plan on targeting existing drivers using that strategy.
Thank you. Thank you. That was good.
By the way, just to add, this is our technical founder, Samad.
He's the one
if
that-
you have any questions regarding our MVP of our app, please feel free to ask any advanced questions. If not, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give them another round of applause because that is a problem and a solution. All righty, we are going to give a warm welcome to Joe Henricks and Caitlin Elise of Green Love to tell us about their problem and solution.
Thank you. You're very welcome. We all love the feeling of recycling, and we all love saving money. What if I told you you didn't necessarily need to recycle and you could save up to $1,500 per year along the way? Just like we refill our water bottles at fountains, what if we could do the same thing with shampoo and detergent? The good news is you can. Refillery stores offer you the ability to use whatever container you want to refill whatever you need. The bad news is these stores need help. I am Joe, co-founder of Green Love. Kaylin and I teamed up to make the world a greener place. Originally, we thought non-green entrepreneurs were our target market. However, over 91 interviews revealed a a whole green industry, refillery stores, struggling to keep eco-friendly stock on their shelves due to costly minimum orders. Our solution? Introducing Green Love, a wholesale, simple marketplace where refillery owners can come together on orders to get their eco products cheaper. Oh, thank you. I was about to speak, but I appreciate the applause. Thank you. This will then in turn keep they're shelf stocked, saving you money and saving the planet. Green Love is a go. If any of you are interested in green living, would like to connect with us, learn more, mentor us, or even own a green business, please scan the QR code. Thank you.
I just need a little help understanding the business model. So if I have a business and I am committed to recycling and green, sustainability, where do you come in? I think I got kind of lost in, because you said something about shampoo bottles, and I was just confused about the model.
Would I take this?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So for us, we believe in green living, and ultimately that means reducing waste. And so throughout this process here in this program, we discovered refillery stores, which are specific stores focused on providing consumers with an alternate solution, I should say an alternate retail experience to what they purchase to fulfill their home goods. And so they eliminate single-use plastics. So by doing this, refillery stores, they're called such because they have, you can bring your shampoo bottle in and refill it instead of throwing it away, every few weeks or every month or two when you empty it out, instead of going to the store and buying a new plastic bottle.
So if I'm an entrepreneur and I have a sustainability commitment, does Green Love create this? Do you turn my business into a refillery store?
This is for existing refillery stores or new entrepreneurs who would like to start one. And so it's a way to help make it easier for them to enter the marketplace. As a new small business owner, it's difficult to meet the minimum order requirements for wholesale to buy hundreds of a specific product, or in the case of shampoo, several 50-gallon container. And so this is a way for these small business owners to come together and make it, and by able to benefit from the cheaper wholesale pricing, but get a portion of the quantities for their specific store.
Okay, thank you.
What's your revenue model?
So with our revenue model, the way we would make money, because this is a marketplace, we would be taking a commission off of each sale. And then we also have a tiered membership model as another way to get revenue.
So is your target audience the individual consumer? Is it businesses? Is it both? And then I guess I'm still not sure when you say a marketplace, right? Like, do you have the brick and mortar distillery, or do you basically help launch these distilleries?
The marketplace is connecting the refilleries, the small business retail shops,
excuse me, thank you,
with the eco-conscious brands and manufacturers. And so many of these refilleries are brick and mortar. There are some that are online only, and they do delivery service. So you can put your bottles out on your porch, and then they'll come and take them away and refill them.
How do they, so do you, in advance when you're, let's say, I'm going back to the shampoo bottles, right? So you have a particular product that you're using, and then you go online or something, you say, I need a pickup, the refillery comes and picks it up, and then they're able to match that product regardless of what it is, or is the focus only on certain types of products as well that you're refilling?
So the products on our marketplace will be based on the refilleries that we interviewed, and so the products that they house and that they are finding most difficult to acquire.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's give them another round of applause. I love a round of applause moment. We are going to welcome the one and only Cielo Rosas Ocampo of Cyberbully. Buddy, I'm so sorry, Cyber Buddy. Goodness gracious. Oh, they're gonna fire me.
When I was 14 years old, I was catfished and I was coerced by someone who I thought was my age and was forced to do things that no 14-year-old should be doing. I conducted over 100 interviews and it led me to know what exactly Cyberbuddy should be for. Team, I am the founder. I know what it takes and what Cyberbuddy needs because I myself personally experienced all of those issues. And with my mentors that I had, they helped me refine the target market and everything that Cyberbuddy needs to succeed. Hypothesis originally was that parents with kids 8 to 14 are worried that the current tools that they're using aren't really doing its job. This rooted because 300,000 American children each year are being sexually trafficked. MissingKids.org did a study on the 474 kids that went missing this beginning of the year, and 90% of it was due to online enticement. And I could have been one of those kids. The problem was that parents aren't able to help their kids without the correct guidance. They don't know what to do, and they're struggling. I heard countless of stories from parents. One talked about how their kid was sending explicit pictures, and their parental control app they were using didn't notify them until 4 hours later. And sometimes there's things that can be too late to go back from. Solution is real-time alerts and a simple interface for parents to use, having easier to use home screen, as well as having an AI chat box that they can go for help in extra modules. While children have an interactive character that guides them on how to talk about these specific topics and guide them on situations like bullying, talking to strangers online, and everything. Thank you. Cyberbuddy is a go. Looking for cybersecurity or tech support or any software developer interested in working with Cyberbuddy. Even if you're just into customer discovery, scan the QR code. Thank you.
I've got a couple questions for you. Of
course.
One, how does your app, outside of, I guess, the real-time alerts, how does it differ from apps like Bark?
Yeah, so Bark actually is my biggest competitor. I've tried them myself, I paid for them, and they are pretty not timely with their alerts themselves. Cyberbuddy values education over restriction. All these apps don't focus on the main user that I believe is, which is a child. The child isn't learning how to navigate, they're just getting blocked from doing things. So while we have an educative AI character, they will be guided and being taught all these things that these current controls are just blocking them completely from doing. And then the parent receives a learning module on how to talk to your kid about that certain situation. Because a lot of parents talk that they don't know where to go to guidance. There's so many resources online, but they all say different things. Where do I go? Cyberbuddy.
Got you. Okay, so that actually brings up my second question, which is, what is the age group that I guess you expect your primary child to be? Because I'm seeing like the AI character, and I'm just thinking like my almost 14-year-old would be like, this is for kids, right? So what is but he's still in the age group, like you said, you were 14 when this happened to you. So I'm just curious what your plan is.
So the interactive character is really inclusive to a lot of ages. There's so many apps out there that even for young adults that even I use, that like you have your own character, you can customize. Roblox, for example, you have your own character and it's really popular among kids. And so this would be more to A14, I still believe. A lot of parents have talked about the current things and games that their kids use, and they all have like that interactive character that they can be or they can like connect with.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to ask, you talked about education over restriction. So I don't know which one is better but your app seems to lean towards education. Is there some restriction though?
Yes. So the parents would essentially be given their manuals and like what exactly they're more worried about. And since kids aren't all the same, every kid is different personalities, parents can still put restrictions on whether certain sites they want to enter. For example, let's say an X-rated site is blocked, right? If the kid is a little bit older, they could then explain, hey, like this is why I'm on here. Or then the parent gets a notification and they're like, this is how to talk to your kid about this specific website and learn where they got it from or why they're on here. So we're not specifically being open to everything out there in the world.
It's really interesting. So in your 100 interviews, did you find there was a certain age demographic of parents who would adopt this? Is it like tech savvy parents? I don't know that they would, or is it like parents who are not that tech savvy?
It was a mixture because a lot of moms, almost 90% of it were moms. They tend to be the ones that focus more with the kid. Some of them were stay-at-home moms, and they say that they worry a lot because their kids are in school. And especially when it's like middle school that they're entering that age, they're being exposed to so many other things out there. And then another one is parents that are working. Because you can't be with your kid 24/7. You have to sleep, you have to eat, you have to be at work and earn money. So it's kind of in between those two different demographics of parents that work.
Thanks.
Have you thought about ways in which you would market this as a differentiator from Bark? So similar to what Gwen was asking, I know you talked about the notifications being faster, but I think, so many of us are familiar with Bark, right? As the primary. So have you thought about ways on how you kind of penetrate the market to get at some of that market share?
Yeah, so essentially the biggest thing is infiltrating into these parent groups. There's thousands of them on Facebook that say like worried about teenagers or parents that are worried about kids and stuff. And I've joined them and they're all like say the same things, that there's still issues out there that aren't being helped and that their kids are, they're struggling, even straight from the parent mouth of the parents I've interviewed. And so it would be focusing into those groups and kind of showcasing the difference between the education and that one character that their kid is going to be able to bond with.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's so nice. So sorry, but you did it.
You guys know the drill. Give her another round of applause. All right. Next, we have Greg Mays of You Are Guide.
Imagine it's your first time in Detroit for business, and you just left a meeting at the Renaissance Center. It's your first time in Detroit for business, and you just left the Renaissance Center. You're an architectural enthusiast, and you have 4 hours to spare until your next meeting. You open the app on your phone, which provides you with a self-guided tour of the nearby Guardian building, providing historical insights. From there, that same app then provides you with a planned route using the Mogo bikes to the Detroit Public Library, showcasing its stunning interior. After all the adventures, that very same app then reminds you of your meeting, as well as the best routes to get there on time. My name is Greg Mays, and this is Your Guide. Your Guide is a self-guided tour app designed to make city tours more sustainable, as well as more fun. Your Guide, besides exploration, Your Guide is an all-inclusive platform that makes city exploration a little bit easier for you. When I first started my journey, I believe families with small children were most likely to have issues finding things to do within city limits. But after 102 interviews, I recently discovered that it's actually business travelers who need to maximize their time with curated experiences. As an insurance adjuster, I travel a lot for work, and I get tired of using search engines in order to find things to do within whatever city I'm in, which is where the idea for Your Guide came from. That's why Your Guide is putting mobility front and center by integrating transportation such as public transit, ride share, as well as micro-mobility. It also integrates with your calendar, as well as a quick selection tour. I'm happy to say Your Guide is a go. And if there's anybody in the mobility sector who can provide insight, let's make traveling around cities a little bit easier. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job. So I'm so interested in understanding, because I love that your original hypothesis probably would have been mine too, that it was people with young children who were traveling. So when was that moment, that magical ha moment where you're like, oh my God, that's not my customer, and you needed to?
Well, the thing is, when I was doing my discovery, I noticed when speaking to families, like I wasn't really getting the response that I was looking for. So after going back to the drawing board, that's when I realized that business travelers really have a hard time in new cities. Like I said, I'm an insurance adjuster. I'm everywhere, and I can never find anything to do. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So how easy is it to use, right? So I'm thinking about this in my head too. If I go somewhere, am I going to have to go through the same steps in the research that I would in a search engine, that I would have to populate this app to provide me with the tour?
Nah, that's the whole purpose of your guide, to cut out all the hard work. We're going to do it for you with using AI. How it works is it's, again, to your interest. So let's say if you love Motown, as opposed to just sending you down to the Motown Museum, it'll show you areas where Motown artists used to hang out, as well as neighborhoods that they grew up in, and providing, history behind each one of those areas.
So, based on where I am?
Yes.
Okay.
And it also integrates with your calendar. So if you don't have enough time for a complete tour, you can cut it short.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, but I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it so it makes sense. So where do you, if you're trying to get tours created or curated for all these different cities, right?
Yes.
How are you getting that information? Because I'm assuming that like you personally probably wouldn't know it for every single city, right? So are you partnering with local tours in order to put that into the app?
Yes, that's an idea, as well as geo mapping.
Okay.
I have a few companies that I've reached out to who can assist with that.
Okay.
And yeah.
And would this be a like subscription model?
Yes. So of course there'll be a free version with ads. Okay. There'll be a subscription base, and if you pay yearly, then you'll get 20% off instantly.
Gotcha. I was really interested in kind of like the end part of what you were talking about. I thought it was really interesting how it like ties in with Uber. I think that's really like almost like the selling point, if you will. If I could just press a button and all the things that I would need to make this travel experience happen would be great. Could you like kind of elaborate on that just a little bit? Because you kind of ran out of time during the pitch.
Oh, well, yeah. So again, ride sharing is definitely a key point for me. Again, with the whole mobility sector just being as wide open as it is, I figured this way we can integrate not only ride sharing, again, but the public transportation, the scooters, as well as bikes in the city. So.
Okay, thank you.
Is that a part of your revenue model? Because when you mentioned Mogo, my mind was like, oh, okay, I use Mogo.
Yeah.
So you'll be partnering with them, and that will be a part of.
Well, that's the goal.
Okay. If it's not, it should be. Okay.
Thank you.
I like that. It was a longer applause. I didn't have to say, give him another one. We're going to roll into the next presenter, Helen Griffin of Jovial. No, just keep it going.
What up, though? All right, let's do this. Okay. All right, so back in 2017, my mom, she had a stroke. I drove from Cleveland to Detroit every 2 weeks. During COVID, yeah, I was her caregiver. Both times, it was hard to keep a job. Jovial? Yeah, baby, that solves that cruel problem. So a team of wellness warriors led by me, Helen Griffin Jr., a caregiver with 18 years of experience as a developer and founder, with customer-focused mentors and an angel investor. Love you, mama. For the last 60 days, we battled this problem for our people. In my Kanye West voice, corporate America don't care about caregivers. Nobody can relate, right? Yeah, so that was my theory and my trauma. But 111 managers and caregivers admitted to me that they felt alone, burnt out, and unsure how to help and get help with these crazy workloads of ours. Until now. That's right, Jovial is your AI helper that gives managers a heads up on workforce changes, roadblocks, and setbacks. It makes it easy for managers to give grace, provide support resources to boost team morale and capacity. So if you're leading a mission critical team, baby, scan the code, book a demo with me now, because you and your people deserve joy and peace this holiday. Don't stress this mess. All right? Thank you, and let's get to these questions.
Well, you have so much personality. That was amazing.
Thank you.
I love that you're a junior, because I am too, actually. So I just want to be clear that the target audience is the business, like the company, right?
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah. We're going to get paid. Yeah. So the target customer is SMEs and also enterprises. But the target individual we're going after are managers. I guess they call that a bottoms up approach. So that's that's who's going to be paying the check, because they usually have a budget. So
okay, so the company would then pay Jovial to have access to this.
Yeah, so the company would pay because the company allocate a budget to the managers. Usually these managers have some type of wellness stipend, work from home stipend, stuff like that. We tapping into that, and then the end user is both the managers and the caregivers and parents on their team.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna hone in.
Okay.
Because I'm still not. So my mom right now is in memory care. Okay. So are you saying that the customer is the memory care facility, or is it the manager within the facility?
No, I got you with, that's okay. I'm trying to clear it up. So thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
All right. So just to give you an understanding, we're industry agnostic. So we're targeting for now, for now, we're targeting managers and corporations, so it's the managers that's providing, we're giving them a tool to manage the workforce changes. So let's say when their teammates call in because they got to take, let's say you call in because you got to take your mom or your grandma to the doctor, and that might be 2 hours, It sucks for that manager because it's last minute and they're scrambling. Whereas we have a tool that give you the privacy, because we be HIPAA compliant, where you can disclose certain information, right? So certain information will be filtered to the manager because you agreed upon, and then we also provide resources towards you. So maybe you don't necessarily have to take your grandma to the doctor. Maybe we match you with a transportation that we could do that for you. Or we just be like, hey, no, boss lady, she need these 2 hours, and we just get you signed up with FMLA, so.
Thank you. Okay, got it now. Thank you.
But we do want to grow into the home health area and provide the source to them too as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the tool is dependent upon data that needs to be entered by the employee as well as the manager. Because I'm interpreting this as the manager is for them to, I guess, detect burnout of the employee.
We try to make it easy for everybody to get help, because that's the number one problem. People were saying it was hard for people to be open with each other. So by us being HIPAA compliant, we have like prompts. So you know how you use Chat GPT or Perplexity and you ask it questions? It asks you questions.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of gauge your day, like what kind of barriers are in your way of your project, or what kind of barriers are you going to be able to make it to work? Do you see anything foreseeable that's causing you problems? We try to get that information out of people, and because we're providing such a resource, people can be more open and feel like, okay, I can put this information out there without most importantly, my competence and my credibility being questioned, right? Because a lot of people wouldn't take off because, you know, but they still need to go out because life happens.
Right.
Right. So that's how we grind it for the information. And most importantly, we're also doing app integration. So we're not trying to convince somebody to get off a whole completely different software stack. We play ball. We play with your play field too.
Got it. One more question.
Go for it.
Did you conduct any research, I guess, with employees to determine kind of their comfort level in submitting that kind of information through this app?
The employers already do that. It's just the employees don't know about their rights. So the employers already getting information with a lot of the HR software, but it's just the employees don't know about this stuff.
Thank you.
I feel like I walked off the stage at a pitch competition and then it turned into like spoken word and a little bit of comedy mixed in. I love that for us. We are halfway through. Give yourselves a round of applause this time. Oh yeah. Give the EIRs, the coaches, a round of applause. Our judges, our AV, because this is awesome. Everyone looks amazing. We are going to keep on rolling with Halia Klamangu of Live Well. Round of applause, round of applause.
Thank you. Good evening. I have an invitation for you. I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can open your eyes whenever you're ready. My name's Alia Klamangu, and that is one of my own wellness practices. During my research, I discovered that people are curious about wellness, but they don't know where to go or what to search for when getting started. And that was me once. For nearly a decade, I felt alone, anxious, and disconnected. I knew a better life was out there for me, but it was just a little out of reach. My own journey is what inspired me to create Live Well, where we bring wellness within reach. My initial hypothesis was that promoting wellness events is difficult because it's time-consuming, overwhelming, and requires skills that the promoter may lack. While all that's true, what I really discovered is that wellness practitioners lack the targeted channels to expand their audiences outside of their existing social media following and email list. And that's why I'm creating a searchable directory and event ticketing platform that empowers wellness practitioners to grow their businesses and enables us to access wellness events and resources in our area. Live Well is a go, and if you would like to help me bring wellness within reach, I'd love to speak with you. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. Excellent. Thank you. In your research, because of course Eventbrite came to mind and Meetup, so talk to me about who your competitors are and how you are going to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, so I would say my main competitor is Eventbrite, and then just whatever kind of other solution people put together. So not a lot of people. I would say probably 30% of the people that I interviewed use Eventbrite, but otherwise they just sell things through their own Venmo and things. So yeah, that would be the main competitor. I've identified a few other regional competitors that have just come under my radar, but I'm confident in how I'm going to differentiate.
How is that?
And that's it's for being a targeted channel for wellness events. So Eventbrite is industry agnostic. I mean, you could find anything on there, which could you could use that as a selling point, of course. Your audience is really large. But for these types of businesses and these practitioners, they're looking for people who are aligned with their mission, and throwing it at like, hundreds of thousands of people, that's not going to resonate. So yeah, I also plan to use social media to bolster these channels. So having regional social media channels that are feeding users to my platform, as well as the practitioners in those areas.
Thank you.
No problem.
Are you making money by taking a percentage of the ticket sales, or is there another way that you're making money too?
Yeah, so number one would be ticket sales. Additionally, I plan to have a premium wellness practitioner and wellness studio offering for the platform itself. So with kind of additional features for promoting their own businesses.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my next question is, in addition to the ticket sales, is there a fee then that's assessed to the other providers then to have access or to promote through your forum?
So I would like everybody to be able to post their wellness events on for free, but then these premium profiles would have certain workflow tools that would allow them to massively say like upload their events, or easily post to social media. The third revenue stream that I plan on using is with these regional social media accounts, being able to have more a la carte like advertising and social media like influencer packages.
Thank you.
So what is the pain point that your business is solving, right? Like, I understand that businesses need to, put their stuff online to make ticket sales, right? But what is the pain point that you're solving that Eventbrite doesn't? Like, I understand that, it's specifically dedicated for wellness.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, right, if I was a business owner, what do you bring that Eventbrite doesn't, outside of the fact that I would not be amongst a bunch of other non-wellness events?
Yeah, so definitely being a targeted channel for wellness events. But no, that's a good question. Like, what differentiates? So I would say the interesting thing that I learned in speaking with all of these people is that people in the wellness space make a lot of their business decisions based on intuition and things that are aligned with their values. And so me being a brand who understands that and who lives that way and who runs her own business that way, I'm confident that they would choose me to help grow their business. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, we're going to keep it rolling after we have another round of applause. Everyone's hands are going to be red by the end of the night. And let's give a round of applause and a warm welcome to Keonda Buford of Fund Me. Hi, everyone. My name's Keonda Buford, but you can call me Kiki. Say hi, Kiki. How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, I'm here to talk about Fund Me. Meet the team. I'm a data geek by day. I'm an entrepreneur by night. So I spend most of my time working for the city of Detroit, helping nonprofits create technology and processes. My original hypothesis: nonprofits need data solutions to collect outcomes and outputs. But I validated, after talking to 84 nonprofits and funders, that they really need help with funding. I created an app that's kind of like a dating app for nonprofits and funders to meet and greet. You swipe left, you swipe right, you find your funding. This is a go. And I also want to say, I forgot to mention one thing. Nonprofits spend 25 to 50% of their time looking for funding. They want to outsource it. So that's where I come in.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that little part at the end, because I was like, I just wanted to understand, again, the pain point that you were solving. So that makes a lot of sense. And I really like the idea of the swiping left and swiping right, because like we've all done that, right? So can you help me understand? I always want to get to the money, right? Like, how are we making money with this?
So a lot of them are having trouble prospecting, just finding the sources. So they would pay a subscription fee to get the sources of, hey, there's funding here, there's funding there. And then a list would calculate and they could access that list.
So who's paying? The nonprofit?
The nonprofit would pay for that list.
Okay. And do you also take a percentage at all of their funding that they receive?
So the way that the business model will work is we'll start with the $50 subscription fee, which I was told that was too low, but we're going to go there. But secondly, we have 3 packages where people could get more involved help from our consulting team, which would be once they gather the list, we'll create a funding strategy. We'll meet with them once a month for the lowest package, twice a month for the middle, and the VIP. You're going to get full service at that point. We also help with grant writing as well. So a part of that grant writing, we build our fee into that grant writing, which is pretty customary, but also there's a fee for us to meet with you every month.
So in addition to, I guess, providing the funding sources or the funding opportunities, your company will also provide consultative support to them as well. And so they can identify through the app what consultative, they would have to request that from you then, and then you identify the source, but then also provide them with consulting, which is a separate fee?
It is a separate fee.
Okay.
So it's so interesting because from your original, you're a data person,
Right.
which I love, but from your original hypothesis to where you are now is a huge leap. Like it's not even a 360, it's like a 20,000.
Right.
So I'm just trying to reconcile going from the data to, is that piece still in there? Because that's originally, because it's very important. And how do I still get that?
So once they receive the funding, they still have to track those outcomes and outputs.
Yes.
So that would be another piece of the business that would be accessible to them. And also utilizing that to create a story of their work.
Okay.
So I would say I got there because nonprofits were saying, we don't have funding. Thanks for talking to me about these data and outcomes, but how do I get the money in order to come up with those? So that's where
So the data is still a part of it.
Yeah, the data is integral
Okay.
to everything they do.
Yep.
Do you foresee this being and staying solely for nonprofits, or do you foresee it eventually expanding for maybe for-profits or anybody who's looking for funding or grants?
So I did talk to for-profit businesses. They already have tons of solutions. It was the nonprofits that were saying, hey, we don't know where to look. There was one guy, he's a 2-person team. He's like, I don't know where to look for funding. I want to continue to do this work. Where do I go? And he had no idea where to look and where to go, even what his demographic for funding would be.
Got you. Thank you.
That's it. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. All righty. We are getting right on through our list of founders. Let's give all the founders who presented so far a round of applause. All right. Next, we have the one and only Maria Fields of OK Pop.
If you agree, raise your hand. Okay. Well, this was kind of awkward because I thought that other people also loved music, food, and movies like I do. But that's the thing. There are over 7,000 languages in the world, but you needed just one to be able to relate to me. My name is Maria Fields, and I am the founder of OK Pop. I conducted 160 interviews. With my team, I was able to come up and refine my original idea, which is that Organic community is hard to foster. We all want someone to relate to, which is why we are always saying life is more fun when we have someone to share it with. And we often gravitate towards people who have the same interests as us. But this can lead us to global communities where the only thing we have in common in that space is that interest. And we can't deepen the connection because of the language barrier. Through my customer discovery interviews, I was able to identify my initial customer, which is someone who is a K-pop fan who is willing to invest time within the K-pop subculture and going beyond the music, but they're struggling to fit in the community, like Poppy. K-pop is a tool that offers on-demand, flexible, and fast translations for those who are looking to embrace their global community. Welcome to your worldwide community with K-pop. K-pop is happening, and I am looking for developers with a background in language processing. Please talk to me afterwards so that we can continue to find out what more we have in common.
Hey, Maria, I have a question, just a clarity question. So, K-pop is an app that connects K-pop fans from around the world, right? Is that correct?
That's an element of it, but like the anchor of the app is to provide translation so that they consume content that is shared among the K-pop fans, which is what the community is based in.
Right. So the target audience is somebody who's a K-pop fan, right? And is connecting K-pop fans from everywhere and somehow like breaking down the language barrier. Like if I'm a K-pop fan in America, but I don't speak any kind of Asian language, I could still communicate with someone who does?
Yes, and it's also from the perspective of the artist as well, because K-pop means that the artist might be Korean speaking, and sometimes there are other languages because not all the artists are Korean. But the audience can vary in terms of language and who they're presenting to. So it would also be a level of like connecting with the artist.
So how does the language barrier get broken down?
Yeah, through the translation. So the community that people relate in is based off of like content because the community exists on social media. And that's where people go to sort of expand it, even though it can also run into real life as well. And so these translations allow people to be able to talk about the content that everyone else is also experiencing at the same time. And that content is also being generated by the artist.
So the bottom line is this is a translation app.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And is the translation happening like via text or is it like audible?
Yeah, so it's going to start with text translations.
Okay.
So it's a translation app, but specific to the K-pop community, just to be clear.
So it's starting with K-pop because that's where a clear need is.
Got it. Because my next question was going to be then, do you see this as an opportunity across different genres?
Yeah, like as I was talking to people during my interviews, like there were other instances that since like a K-pop fan is one identity that they hold, but they also have interest in other spaces as well where language comes up and they need translation. So I do see this leading into other spaces as well. It's not defined by K-pop.
Got it. So if someone was into like pottery in America, but they wanted to talk to someone in Argentina, the app could eventually connect them as well?
But it's also based on the content that they're watching. So, I mean, as English speakers, we're very fortunate that a lot of content is English-based, and that is becoming like an international language in terms of like a main form of communication. But obviously, there's still a very big world, and not all content is in English, and other people enjoy content, like being entertained by things, and K-pop is an example of one of those phenomenon, where people are still drawn to that because it is entertainment, but the content up front is not in a language that they're familiar with, but they still want to engage with it.
Okay. Any questions? Okay.
That's so good. As someone who is bilingual, I see a lot of value there. We should all learn another language. You guys already got it. Give it another round of applause. Everyone's getting very well trained this evening. I apologize for that. We are going to welcome up Matt Larson of RV City Hosts.
I'm waiting for the judges because I see you writing. Okay. Back in April of 2024, I plan to be one of the 775,000 people attending Detroit's record-breaking draft. But I had a problem. All the hotels in the greater area were already sold out. But then I thought, wait, I have a hotel on wheels. But even with my RV, I still had a hard time finding a place to park in the city. So I didn't go. That's where RV City Host comes in. Think of it like Airbnb, but for self-contained RVs. We connect RVers to host locations that are small businesses, nonprofits, and homeowner driveways, bringing camping closer to the city. And trust me, camping in the city is no longer Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. This is my 100% self-contained RV. I'm one of over 11 million RV owners in America, and myself and millions of others struggle with finding accommodations in the city. Based on industry data, this is a market opportunity of over 55 million urban bookable nights. After conducting 120 interviews, I'm confident in the need for a new RV host marketplace. RVers are looking for opportunities to easily bring their kids and pets, attend music festivals, sporting events, weddings, or stop along the highway on their way or to or from popular Michigan outdoor destinations. And hosts benefit because they're trying to attract new customers and passive income. And cities benefit too, because visitors spend more money downtown, increasing the economic development of the local economy. I'm confident, as well as my team here with TechTown and other founding members not listed, to launch this spring. Thank you, and I'd appreciate your support. Remember, it's not about parking at one experience, it's about parking closer to many experiences that the city has to offer. And as you can see, Matt Foley says it's a go.
Are there businesses that exist like this already?
Yes, and I'll tell you how I'm different.
Okay.
I bought my last RV. I've had 3 RVs. Bought my last one in 2019 before it was all the cool kids did in 2020. I traveled across the country a lot in the Midwest. My full-time job is teaching, so I have the summers off and do this a lot. Wife's from San Diego. Problem with the other platforms is they focus on experiences. Number one, I'm giving the opportunity for Carol the accountant or Bob the plumber to host RVers because the most popular platform has a barter model. You can't barter with Carol the accountant, Bob the plumber. As an RV, I just want a place to park. Closer to the event or experience I'm trying to get, the better.
Okay. So it's kind of like it's kind of like an Airbnb, but for RVs?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so I know someone who's experiencing this now. And it's really interesting because this thing is he'll go down the road, he can go to maybe a restaurant or something like that. So are you also looking at not just residential, but, and you may have said this, but businesses as well?
Yeah, coffee shop. I mean, breweries are my favorite place to stay, but going back to Bob the plumber or the Carol the accountant, if they're closer to Ford Field, I'll stay with them all day long because that's what I'm trying to experience. And to really hit home, another big competitor is called Hip Camp. But in their vision, in their mission statement, they want 2 acres or more, and it's all about going outside the city. It's all about going out and relaxing and recharging, which I'm about that, don't get me wrong. But I have a hotel on wheels. I have a 13-year-old lab, a 3-year-old lab. And throughout this experience, I've talked to all these people, and they're saying the same things I'm saying, like, I don't want to pay pet boarding fee. I don't want to pay for a hotel when I have a hotel on wheels. Just let me park closer to where I'm trying to go.
So with real estate, I guess, being a premium, especially in urban communities, I guess, I know you mentioned bartering, but I'm really trying to understand what's the value proposition, right, to the business owners who would allow you to, park in their space, right? Because I'm assuming too, I'm visualizing like one RV that might be there all day when if they have a facility where they may be able to charge for parking, they could actually earn more by having more vehicles park in their lots.
Yeah.
So can you kind of talk about what that value proposition is, or is it just a higher fee that they're paying as an RV for that space? Almost like
You're talking about going to like a parking lot or something like that?
Yeah, because that's what I'm
Main issue with
about.
that is, no disrespect to my wife, she's not here, so I can say this, but she doesn't want to have to bop around to a bunch of places. Me saying, hey, where am I taking a right or am I taking a left? We just want to know where we're parking. So that's one solution I provide. Okay. But the other thing is, if there's a parking lot, a dentist, Bob the plumber, all those I talked about, they're done at 5 o'clock, right? Mm-hmm. You can set in my platform, people can't check in until after 5 o'clock. Mm. So now when I drive around, all I see is empty parking spaces everywhere I go. So I can work with anybody, essentially, depending on when it's available, when it's not available, how much you want to charge. I've also built dynamic pricing, which is something I've learned from talking with a lot of people. So if it's a Lions, home game weekend, they can bop up the price at $100 a night. Generally speaking, it's like $30 to $50 a night.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Slide.
Thanks.
I happen to have a driveway. As long as there is no puppy evidence after, hit me up. All right, we got two left. Do we need a drum roll for us to kind of get some energy up? Ooh, I love that. This is an amazing audience. Give yourselves a round of applause. Next, we are going to welcome out Max Ortlieb from Shortlist.
Thank you. Chaos. Unadulterated chaos is how one restaurant manager I spoke to described their industry. Now, I came into TechTown to learn more about this chaos and find ways to tame it. My name is Max Ortlieb. I have a background in marketing with a specialization in brand and identity design and product design. Originally, my plan came down to integrating modern technologies into the point of sale process at quick service restaurants. After interviewing hiring managers and restaurant managers, I found that they did struggle to monitor employee performance. They also struggled to predict customer preferences. Now, these are two problems I could potentially solve. But what stood out to me more than anything was their lack of excitement about these problems being solved. It turns out restaurant managers have bigger things on their plate. My original idea was a no-go. But in the process, what I learned was a problem plaguing the industry: staffing. As I continue on the customer discovery process, almost every single hiring manager I speak to faces their own unique challenges in filling their kitchen with top talent. Traditional job boards are too vague. They're not tailored to what executive chefs and hiring managers at restaurants are looking for. In your culinary hire-on-demand apps, they're just too risky for back-of-house operations where, as they put it, you don't really know what you're getting. As I move forward, I intend to solve these problems in one platform. So although my original hypothesis proved wrong, my startup is a go. Tonight, I would love to meet those in the culinary network, anyone who is passionate about helping bring together the culinary network of Detroit. Thank you so much.
So, what's your solution?
So I am still in the customer discovery process.
That's a perfect answer. Thank you. Okay.
Can you give me a very short synopsis of what it is that your service does?
So I will build a solution to the problems that executive chefs and hiring managers at restaurants are not happy with the softwares out there to help them find top talent candidates for open jobs, specifically sous chefs, line cooks. There's not a great solution for that right now.
Right. Okay, so I got that part. Is it an app? Is it a website?
Yeah, it'll be a web app.
Okay. So what are the competitors that you would have right now, even if they're not good solutions?
Yeah, probably the biggest one I would say is culinary agents. They're basically like a LinkedIn specifically for restaurants. I think on a surface level, it looks like they're solving a lot of the problems, but people are very unhappy with it. I think there's a lot that they could do differently.
What could they do differently that you can do?
Yeah, for one, it's very basically anyone can get in, anyone can talk about the past experiences they've had, but what restaurants look for isn't necessarily that you have relevant experience. A lot of it is kind of how you vibe with the other cooks and how you are going to contribute to their smooth running machine. So they have sort of a much different strategy when it comes to finding candidates there.
So how will your app screen for that? Like,
Sorry, could you
how
repeat
will
that?
your app be able to screen candidates to determine if they're able to vibe with the rest of the staff, beyond just what's on the resume?
Right. Yeah. So I'm hoping to make it very network based. So it's the restaurants working together to create their own shortlists and recommendations of who they have on file for who is qualified for these positions.
Okay. Is the resume taken into account as well, or is it? Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
No, all good questions. I think a lot of them that I had, I'm just trying to still figure out kind of the differentiator for this solution from the other one that you named, from the other recruiting or
Right.
job agencies, right?
Yeah, culinary agents. Yeah.
Right. Like what and how you would be able to market that differentiation, right? So it seems like there's one that's already exists, and then that's probably already competing with other platforms, right? To find jobs in that space. So how would you market it as a differentiator from those?
It's definitely something I'm still working on in the customer discovery process, but it's the exclusivity of people who are already vetted and respected in the industry having a place to network is what we would be selling, rather than just post jobs, candidates can apply.
Got it. And are you guys doing the vetting, or it's based on
The network of restaurants
network,
using the
and then-
platform.
So basically, people would almost have to qualify to be a part of this platform.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I was a hostess at a restaurant once. Didn't last a year. It was exhausting. Let's give Max another round of applause. And we have our last team of the night. So everybody give a very, very, very warm welcome to Nina and Joseph Knopf of KMG Amplify.
Construction partners are hard to find. Good construction partners can feel near impossible. If you don't get the partner, you don't get your work done, they don't get the business, and nobody is happy. John, a general contractor, had a thriving business that kept him busy in the work. He, with the help of COVID, quickly found that in 2020, his business, his clients and his leads were going to his competitors. The problem was promoting his work well. Trade business owners are regularly investing in their marketing, but they don't know what's working and if it's money well spent. And that's the problem I'm here to fix today. My husband Joseph and I have spent the last 10 weeks conducting 122 interviews to better understand small businesses' pain points in marketing. And this is what we found. We originally believed that small businesses struggled with marketing for high costs because of high costs, lack of expertise, and time constraints. But we found a bigger need with a smaller group. Small, skilled trade businesses regularly invest up to $1,500 a month in marketing, but they struggle to track ROI and scale their businesses efficiently. In this competitive market, they need to stand out and they need to do it well. In our solution interviews, we learned that 90% of our solution interviews were looking for tools that provided actionable strategies and marketing growth. Our tool, Amplify, is built for non-marketers. It provides actionable marketing strategies, on-demand content generation and ideation, and growth recommendations. With Amplify, tradespeople can stop guessing and start growing.
Amplify is a go, and we're looking for developers. So if you know of any skilled trade businesses that we can do interviews with as well, we'd really appreciate that. Thank you.
Great job, thank you. I just have a quick question. It was really interesting when you talked about, there were 3 points, but what stood out to me was the small business owners don't understand the ROI. Which
Yes.
Of course, we all need to understand that. They're spending money, but they aren't understanding their ROI.
Yes.
And then you connected that to growth recommendations.
Yes.
Is this like a consulting company that's providing growth recommendations based on the data? Like how does that cycle work?
How is the data captured?
No, I get that,
Oh,
but
okay.
you're seeing the data, and this is based on some consulting arm that says, okay, business ABC.
Yeah.
Based on what we see for you, your growth recommendations that tie into your ROI.
Yes.
Well, the ROI for your spend, this is what we see, and these are your growth recommendations. Is that coming from you as an expert, as an SME, or how does that work?
I understand. Thank you. So I definitely see that being automated. That's why we're looking for developers to better understand that. However, Knopf Media Group has been my consultancy that I have operated for a few years now, and this is a tech product that we're looking to develop to help more people at a higher rate.
Thank you. So I'm seeing an AI play, maybe, because you're feeding.
An AI what?
An AI play?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it would be an AI-powered SaaS business that complements the consultancy that's already in place.
Thank you. Got it.
Thank you.
Marlon stole my question, so I'm good. I'm pretty clear on everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think I have any questions.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So good. Hello. All right, let's give everybody a round of applause. We are gonna give the judges a round of applause. They have a really tough decision to make. We're also gonna kick them out of here, give them about 15 minutes to deliberate. In the meantime, Amanda has some really exciting messages for you about what you need to know.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. So while the judges head off to deliberate, we just wanted to share with you all what criteria they're going to be using to choose tonight's prize winners. And we want to share with you what's up for grabs. So as far as what our judges will be evaluating each of our founders on, it'll include the viability of the business, its potential to scale. They'll be looking at the market, the team, what the unique value proposition is, and the customer problem fit. They'll also, be evaluating the demonstrated evidence of work performed, learnings accomplished, and the quality and thoughtfulness of both the pitch and the Q&A. What's up for grabs? First place will receive $1,500. Second place will receive $750. Third place will receive $500. And one startup who will be evaluated by all of you here for our People's Choice Prize will be receiving $500. So what we'd like for you to do while our judges are spending about 15 minutes is please scan the QR code. We're gonna have some signage outside the QR codes. Take some time to vote for your favorite founder and have a drink, and we'll be back here in the auditorium shortly.
Maybe a round of applause for the road for our 15-minute break. It's so hard to get up in front of a room full of people, and all of our founders did that. They did an amazing job. Absolutely. Have a drink. There's still some drinks with the lights in there, very fancy. Have a water.
Have some cake.
I love cake. I'm going to have some cake.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you. We took a little extra time deliberating. It was very, very close.
Very close, very close.
So before we announce our winners, we want to give an honorable mention to a founder whose idea and presentation really stood out. And had it not been for number of interviews not meeting our threshold for being eligible for prize money. We had a threshold of 90 interviews in order to be eligible for prize money. But with that aside, this individual stood out and made it to the top 3. Unfortunately, tonight they won't be able to win money, but we want to give a huge round of applause to Kianda with Fund Me. I think for a lot of us here who are in the nonprofit ecosystem can say strongly that there is a need for your solution. So I hope that we can keep some conversations going and work with you through that next phase.
Don't stop. Keep going.
Okay. Are you ready? Yeah, we're gonna start announcing the winners.
Drum roll.
Drum roll with our 3rd place winner of $500. Congratulations to Greg Mays with Your Guide. Woo! Woo!
We can just keep applauding until he gets it.
And for 2nd place, for $750, Bagsy, Bilal, and Joseph. Woo! And our, keep it going, keep it going. Thank you guys. Our 1st place winner for $1,500 is Matt Larson, RV City host. Nicely done, everyone. And we've got one more. Our People's Choice winner tonight, Helen Griffin, Jovial. Round of applause. Congratulations to everyone up here, to every participant. Congratulations. Nicely done.
A friendly reminder again, it is TechTown's 20th anniversary. So if you want to give $20, $200, $20,000, see me and Amanda first. $20 million, see Christiane first. They will not trust us with that. But we want to thank you all so much again for coming out. Let's give another round of applause to our amazing entrepreneurs, to our team for this event led by Miss Amanda Benno, the one and only, to Christiane Malone and all of our TechTown programming. And Amanda's going to do a serious thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much to Valencia, Gwen, Marlon. I know it was tough in that deliberation room. Some real conversations we had to have. But your expertise, your background is we're honored to have it today. So thank you all for being here. We also want to thank our sponsors. Again, we can't do this kind of work without your individual donations and without the support from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, the NASDAQ Philanthropic Foundation, the U.S. Economic Development Administration, and the William Davidson Foundation. And we want to make sure that you stay connected with our founders. So please network with them for a little bit more after this. On your program is their email address. You can reach out to any of us at TechTown to get connected with them. Thank you, each and every one of you, for the last 10 weeks. You've put in the work. You've met with your coaches and your customer discovery specialists, and you put yourselves in vulnerable positions to conduct these interviews. And that's only the beginning of all the hard work that you'll have to do. But you guys are on that road, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Please enjoy some more drinks. There might be some cake left.
I'm going to get a piece. Don't take my piece.
You don't take her piece. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.